Sit down, strap in, and Granny put your teeth in your pocket. Lead Lap Radio powered by HMS Motorsport, the leader in motorsport safety, starts now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Lead Lap Radio. We are back for another show. My name is Tom Baker. I am joined in the Race Chaser studio tonight by Randy Miller from the Inside Pass. You can hear the Inside Pass on Spreaker on Wednesday nights here from the Race Chaser studios. If you download the Spreaker app and just go to the Inside Pass, Randy and I will regale you with some more race talk on Wednesday nights from 8 to 9 Eastern. And this week's guest on that show is
Blake Harris.
Blake Harris. That's
yes.
right. We're talking dirt Wednesday night. That'll be a lot of fun. Anyways, we have a couple of guests on this show as well. Chris Murdoch is not a guest, but he is our producer. He is over across the hall here behind the glass.
I can be a guest if you want me to.
Punching buttons on both the audio and video side as the master of disaster over there. Or master of preventing disaster, I guess.
Hopefully he prevents it, doesn't cause it.
Yeah, exactly. And we do have a couple of guests. We're going modified racing tonight. As we get into the show a little further, we're going to have both Doug Coby and Justin Bonsignore on, not at the same time. That would be too much fun. But we are going to have both of them on separately to talk modifieds. Of course, they are the two most recent winners on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Doug got his win at Seekonk, and Justin got his win at Thompson. And then, so they're both going to be on. And we're going to also keep you up to date on what's going on in the NASCAR race at Michigan. If you're watching it, that's okay. Just turn the sound off. We're much more exciting than the TV crew. And listen to us and enjoy the race. But we'll keep you updated regardless. And we'll also talk about IndyCar, and we'll talk some F1 as well. IndyCar was at Texas. They had a thriller of a finish, and F1 had another penalty. So we got more nonsense to talk about with F1 a little later on. And we're going to talk Cars Tour. They had a thrilling finish as well, and it ended up being a big win for Deke McCaskill. So we'll tell you about that as the show goes on also. So a lot to cover here. We had a triple header for NASCAR, but we had only 2/3 of that in Michigan. Of course, 1/3 of that going on as we speak.
A triple header over 4 days.
Yeah, over 4 days. The trucks were at Texas, and I want to start the show with a couple of things here. First of all, I want to go around the table. NASCAR truck race at Texas, I thought, was a very interesting race, and I really feel like it just accented once again the idea that the Gander Outdoors Truck Series is, to me, the most exciting series in NASCAR besides the modifieds, which we'll talk about later. But here's the interesting thing. Greg Biffle getting the win.
This is not 2002, by the way.
Yeah, this is 2019.
This is a live broadcast.
Greg Biffle comes out of retirement, hops in the 51 truck that Kyle Busch has won 5 races with, and gets the win on Friday night. But here's my question. Does it bother you or not bother you that Greg Biffle winning basically has pretty much sucked all of the media and fan attention away from the fact that Tyler Ankrum got his diploma in the morning, did the longest slide down pit road I've ever seen in my entire life.
Without hitting anything.
Went 4 laps down, made up 4 laps, and finished third. Does it bother you or not bother you that Biffle's win overshadowed that? Nobody's talking about what Tyler did. Let me ask the question this way. Which is the bigger story, Randy?
Well, first of all, let me mention that Tyler led 9 laps in that race, too. He actually led laps for the first time.
Yep.
I feel like, as much as I was a Greg Biffle fan growing up, Biffle is old news. Everybody knows the 51 truck is going to be competitive no matter who's in that truck, whether it be Greg Biffle. You can put, whoever in that truck. It's going to be competitive because it's about the equipment,
right,
not necessarily about the driver. And I feel like even though, and I think all the hype started out being because of the Triple Truck Challenge, but now he's not even eligible for it. So that's a whole other story. But I think now that that's all gone by the wayside, and he's won his race, and now he can go do whatever it is that Greg Biffle does when he's not racing. I feel like Tyler's the future of the sport. You should be putting the focus on the future, not on guys who are 10 years past their prime.
Chris, your thoughts?
I'm going to disagree with Randy. I'm going to say Greg Biffle is the bigger story here, and I'm just going to say it because it puts the younger KBM drivers on notice. Because a guy who comes out of being out of the sport for 3 years, being out of truck competition for over 10 years, just to come out and win that thing, it's like Randy said. It's not the drivers it's the truck. The truck can do it. He came out, he dominated the race, and when you talk about money and you talk about that Triple Truck Challenge, although nobody can actually sweep it now because on a NASCAR technicality, it's still the biggest story.
I'm going to agree with Randy and say that Tyler Ankrum is by far the bigger story, and here's my reasons why. First of all, Greg Biffle's been a Truck Series champion. Been there, done that. I know he's been out of the sport for a few years, but you don't forget how to drive. He got into a truck that's already won 5 races with another Cup driver in it. There's no question that truck, when there's a driver in it that's capable of winning, that truck is probably, arguably, the best truck in the series. And I would also argue that because Kyle Busch mostly drives it, it's the best truck in the fleet. And so, in my mind, Greg Biffle winning was no surprise whatsoever. It's not that I thought he would dominate it. He didn't. But him winning at Texas, where there's plenty of room to race, and, to use the speed and the handling that truck has, to me is no big deal.
A truck he's won about 5 times.
Right, exactly. I mean, this is, again, I don't think this is a great, a big story. Tyler Ankrum doing what he did is a huge story because it was by far his best run in the truck. Mind you, this is his first season in the trucks. It's a DGR truck, which is not a team that you yet have come to expect to be running up front. And his teammate, Anthony Alfredo, ran up front and had his best, I would argue, overall.
To me, that's a big story as well because Alfredo, right. Alfredo even got there and led some laps as well. So.
He did, yeah. He ended up finishing 12th, but he led 3 laps and ran second for a good bit.
That was just that's where results do not, show performance because the pit strategy kind of made him finish that way.
So in my mind, I think Ankrum's way bigger of a story than Greg Biffle winning, and I'm honestly happy that Greg Biffle doesn't get to go and run for the big money, and this is the reason why. As a fan, Greg Biffle winning the Triple Truck Challenge would be absolutely of no emotional interest to me at all.
Like Kyle Busch winning the Powerball lottery.
Right. I mean, it just doesn't, to me, I have no interest in that as a fan. I have much more interest in seeing a Truck Series regular go do it. And so for me personally, I'm glad he's not able to do this because now we get to put our focus back on the Truck Series regulars because another story that
nobody can really do it.
Well, they can't win the triple, but I guess what I'm saying is the other 2 races.
$150,000 is a lot of money, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they're going to be won by Truck Series regulars. My point.
Unless Greg shows up to Gateway.
Well, there technically would be a way that could have happened.
If they got the pre-entry in and put him in the truck, then he's going to be there.
No, they didn't get the pre-entry in. So
that's for Iowa. They could
still
apply.
But he still can't win the triple.
He can win the double.
He can win the double. He can win 2 or 3, but he can't win the triple. But there is one way he could have been at Iowa if Kyle would have wanted to do that, and that would have been, okay, the truck missed the pre-entry, but they could have shifted a driver out of one of the other trucks if they wanted to, or they could have added a fifth truck if they wanted to. But, of course, the fifth truck became no option when they missed the deadline for the 51.
Kyle said that
So-
he was trying to find a way to make the fifth truck happen, but it was gonna be hard to turn around that quick.
Right.
'Cause they weren't ready to have the 51 truck go to to Iowa in the first place.
Yeah, so the only way that could have happened is if he had made the pre-entry, or they would have shifted somebody out of one of the other trucks that was already pre-entered and put him in it. But obviously that's not as easy to make happen given all the sponsor commitments and such. So at the end of the day, Greg's triple is not going to happen. I'm glad that we're going to Iowa focusing on other things. I will tell you that Ross Chastain will move from the 38 truck to the 44 truck for Iowa to continue his quest for a championship.
So does that not mess up what he doesn't?
No. He can drive any truck he wants.
Oh, yeah, because it's driver
Yeah,
points.
it's driver
for
points.
driver, not for team. Or
So,
not for
yeah,
car.
so there's no question that he's
He came close to being really good at Texas.
well,
And
and
he-
see, that's again, there's another story that we could delve into after the break, because we don't have enough time at this point to really get into that. But that's Ross's another story that really didn't get talked about very much because everybody was just going nuts over Biffle, and Kyle was calling himself a genius, I guess.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
humble much.
Wow.
But at any rate, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll pick up the truck conversation. We've got modifieds coming up in a little while. Excited about that. The race in Michigan is still going on. Randy will provide us an
Give you
update.
an update on when we come
So
back.
lots of stuff coming around the turn. HMS Motorsport brings you this show. You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com. They are, after all, the leaders in motorsports safety. Lead Lap Radio will return after this.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
Hi, I'm Tyler Reddick, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio. Tom Baker and Randy Miller here in the Race Chaser studio in Mooresville, North Carolina. We've got Chris Murdoch on the other side of the proverbial glass over in the tech shed, punching all the buttons. And good to see some of our friends in chat. Blake Harris, who's going to join us Wednesday night here in the studio for the Inside Pass. Excuse me, Blake is in the chat. Good to see Stephen Evans as well. Stephen, been a huge part of Race Chaser Media for years now.
Steve-O.
A premier announcer at the Land of Legends Speedway up in New York, formerly known in my era of going there as Canandaigua Speedway. And Steve-O, part of the broadcast team now from there. And good to see Tim Thompson as well, father of Grant Thompson, who has been on the show before, Southern Pro-Am Series truck racer. Just some of the folks who have joined us. We've got Doug Coby going to be joining us here in just a little while, along with Justin Bonsignore in separate segments to talk modified racing. Right now we're talking trucks. Randy, before we do that, you want to give us an update on what's going on here?
Well, there's not really a whole lot of update to give you. Joey Logano has led 118 laps, and he continues to lead going into, what will be lap 140 of stage 3. So
amazing.
Talk about stinking up the place today. That would be Joey Logano.
It's a good day right there.
That's a good day.
Good day for him, for sure. Yeah. So we'll keep you posted on what's going on there. Talking trucks, though, from Texas, and we were talking about the fact that with Greg Biffle winning the race, I mean, it was cool to see, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it just sort of took up all the oxygen out of the room and you know, didn't get to talk about so many other drivers who had great runs. We mentioned Tyler Ankrum in the last segment and all of the stuff that he did. Another ageless veteran, Matt Crafton, actually finished second with the 88.
I felt sorry for his daughter. His daughter was going to cry that he didn't win
Yeah.
the money. Like, that's be like what my kids would do.
Apparently, he made a promise about something, and now she doesn't get it.
Yeah, he's
like he doesn't have the money to buy it for it anyways. But,
so Ankrum third, Grant Emfinger a great run for fourth, and here's another Harrison Burton finished up in fifth, his best run easily.
Mm-hmm.
In a while, or maybe of the year.
That truck actually looked good Friday
It did.
night for a
yeah.
change.
Yep.
Fast.
Sheldon Creed sixth. Brendan Poole again on Point Motorsports on point.
He's going to get a win.
Yeah, I feel
like
he
he's
might.
going to get one at some point.
Yeah.
That truck is too good, and the sponsorship, they don't even have a full season sponsorship. I know Bad Boys is only going to be on the truck for like 5 or 6 races, so they're looking for sponsorship for that truck. So.
Doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Hill eighth. Corey Roper, a nice run for ninth on his home track.
And he led some laps too.
He could have. He looked like he could have.
Officially did not lead.
Oh, did he?
No.
I thought he did.
No.
I guess he was running up front, but then he pitted or something.
He could have easily won that race if pit strategy would have went his way.
Yeah. Corey definitely was fast. And then we were talking about, that's why I kind of went through the run, because we got to 10th and Ross Chastain, and you know, again, the result doesn't. You know, tell the story of the performance.
He still keeps his streak alive, though, of not finishing out of the top 10 all season.
Well, and he needs to, because again, he needs to win a race and finish in the top 20 in points is what he needs to do.
He's got 38 points now. So
he's got 38. He's getting closer. But that's
he probably
how
moved up 9 spots in the standings too, just because of that.
I was going to say that's really what
I'm gonna look.
he needs to do is he needs to just keep finishing in the top 10, top 5, and get his win. But that was a great performance. And this is a situation where, at this point for him, it's pretty much about winning, but you can't afford to have a disaster. He doesn't need to not finish. This coming weekend for Iowa, he goes back to the 44 truck, or goes to the 44 truck, and will race that truck at Iowa, and I think will kind of bounce between trucks as the situation arises here with Nice Motorsports throughout the rest of the season.
Ross Chastain currently 35th in points.
Yeah, so he's got 15 spots, and you know, he's got 15 races I think now left to get to the top 20. So getting to the top 20 not going to be an issue, I don't believe, for Ross Chastain in that.
I feel like though that they should leave the team with Ross. Like even though he's bouncing from truck to truck, they should leave his team intact, like his pit crew.
That
intact.
probably will happen. I'm just guessing.
Because I feel like it would be weird, to have a whole other crew chief and a whole other team week to week to week when you're bouncing from truck to truck to truck.
Yeah, I would guess that probably is what's going to happen.
If he finishes well at Iowa, he'll be up to like 23rd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like there are so many part-timers that he'll easily pass. So, again, top 20, I don't think it's going to be the problem.
Right now on the bubble on top 20 is Anthony Alfredo.
Well, and again,
he won't even run all the races.
He's not even a full-time truck.
So
he's not a full-time truck. But the other truck that we need to talk about, because we did talk about Anthony a little bit, Jordan Anderson.
Oh, yes.
I mean, he didn't lead any laps, but he was up front for a good portion of that race. And slowly but surely, we're seeing Jordan creep up and up and up and up. And I'm not sure that he will win a race this year, but I think easily a top 5, a couple top 5s. I think you're going to start seeing him run more regularly in that 5th to 10th place area. Those trucks are getting better and better and better. And what Jordan has accomplished as an owner is, to me, as spectacular as what he's doing as a driver.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because he basically started what is the current team from scratch, pretty much, and went out. He's gotten all the sponsors. He drives the truck. He does all kinds of stuff. I think finally they do have a truck driver now. But, he just was a Jordan of all trades for a while. Nobody has worked any harder in the truck series to get up front and run for wins than Jordan Anderson. And I think the more his performance elevates, the better a chance he's going to get some bigger sponsors as, we go into 2020. And I would love to see him being in a position to be able to race for wins next year.
Yeah.
And I almost think that's realistic at the rate he's going.
Especially a guy like him, because like you said, he started from scratch with absolutely nothing. So to him, a top 5 is almost a win.
Right.
In their book, because he's spent so many years and so many races trying to get that program where he wants it.
Exactly.
And now that he's starting to get there now, those top 5s and top 10s are going to be like wins for him.
I agree.
Going forward. And even if he doesn't get a win, even a top 5 finish is much better than a 15th place finish. The money is a little bit better. So that money can go back into the truck and, finding better sponsors and getting better equipment, and that's how you build the team.
Yep, that's exactly right. And I inadvertently skipped over poor Sheldon Creed here. Sorry, Sheldon. But Sheldon finished 6th. And, again, a driver who is starting now to log some whole races and be able to get through. That's been Sheldon's biggest problem all year. He's had speed pretty much from jump. Yep. But he just hasn't been finishing. You see him make a big mistake or, something happens. And so if Sheldon can just keep finishing races, I think that's another driver that could get a win in the series before it's over with. GMS Racing putting a solid truck underneath him on Friday night, and he drove it to a 6th place finish, led a few laps, but more importantly, again, got a good finish, and he's starting to get there. So
he made racing with Tyler Dipple seem very, very exciting too for a little while.
Oh wow,
they were
yeah,
beating and banging like nobody's business. Like, dude, you're gonna wreck each other.
Yeah, well, and that's
unfortunately
that's what you again. Sheldon is a very aggressive kid,
right?
And he's kind of you see him. He'll dive for a hole and try to split the middle in a 3-wide scenario. And he's gotten himself in trouble a number of times with that sort of thing. And you see him bounce trucks off the wall and all that. So I know Doug Randolph is really working with him on finishing races, just getting through the races. And it's starting to sink in. That was one of the better races I've seen Sheldon drive. And he's starting to sort of round into form, I think, in the truck series. Mm-hmm. And as we go to Iowa and we get into round 2 of this triple truck challenge. Now, obviously, Biffle wins one, so we're not going to get a triple winner. But do you see anybody being able to pull the double? And if so, who would be your pick to win 2 in a row and double up on the money.
Man,
Mr.
after what I saw Friday night, Matt Crafton looked like a man possessed to get that money.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like Crafton, even Ankrum, a guy like Ankrum could easily,
Well, Tyler loves Iowa.
Yeah.
He's been there. I mean,
either one of those two guys would be my pick.
And for that matter, Anthony Alfredo ran Iowa as well. So he's going to have an advantage.
Too bad he's not racing Iowa.
That's right. That's not on his schedule. I forgot. You are correct. So Alfredo will not be in the truck.
He will be at Gateway.
Yes. Gateway is his next one. What will you have on that, Chris? You think anybody can do this win 2 in a row?
I have a strong feeling it's going to be Ross Chastain. You go to two
in a row?
2 in a row. You see.
Wow.
I just want to say if he gets one, he's top 20. If he gets one win, he's top 20. So.
Well, yeah,
oh, sure.
So I say you go to 2 tracks that really fit his driving style, those lower bank corners, and you sort of drive him like a short track. Iowa is a short track. Gateway sort of acts like one. So you go to 2 tracks that fit his driving style, he'll move somebody out of the way for a win.
Well, that's we've seen him do things like that before. That's I could see him getting one. I just don't believe somebody wins 2 in a row. I think the 2 tracks are different enough that I think you get 2 different winners. We don't know what Biffle's status would be for Gateway, even if Kyle would have a situation for him. But we know he's not going to be at Iowa. I feel like we get 2 different winners. Do I think Ross could be one of them? Of course. He certainly wasn't out of the running the other day, and it was his first time in the 38 truck. So this is going to be an interesting next couple of weeks for the truck series for sure. I love these 2 tracks to go into. This was a great triple of tracks, great 3 set of tracks to send them to do this triple truck challenge, because they always put on a great show at Texas, and Iowa and Gateway are just fun. Lots of room to pass at Iowa, and Gateway is just a fun track. So with that, we step aside again, and we'll be back with more of Lead Lap Radio presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety, right after this.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves a majority of NASCAR, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schubert helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Valero fireproof underwear, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the staff at HMS is always ready to take the time and help you find the right product for your specific safety needs. You have family and friends who care about you, so don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Just stop in to HMS Motorsport, visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com, or send them a message on Facebook. Tell them the folks from Race Chaser Media sent you.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Hi, I'm John Holloman, and you're listening to Race.
Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio. As we continue with the program tonight, we are, of course, live on the Performance Motorsports Network. We are also live on our Race Chaser Media Facebook page. Tom Baker, Randy Miller, Chris Murdoch with you one more time as we start off another week of motorsports conversation. I know Joey's still leading at Michigan, Randy, but what else is going on there?
So Martin Truex right now running in the second spot. Harvick is third. He's like 15 laps already, and I think he won stage 2, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and look. Kurt Busch right now sitting fourth. Suarez is fifth. Larson is in sixth. He actually was running in third a few minutes ago. Chris Buescher is up to seventh. Kyle is eighth. That's Busch. And then Bowman is ninth, and Hemrick is 10th right now. So that's your top 10. We got about 37 laps to go.
Okay.
Like that.
So it looks like Joey's in the catbird seat unless something goes wrong.
He's led a total of 134 laps.
Okay. Well, a good run so far for Joey Logano. We'll see if it continues to the end. We continue with our program, and Tyler Reddick continued to show why he should be, and now is, the Xfinity Series point leader. Got the win once again at Michigan. And, you know, when you look at this and you look at Saturday's race, it really wasn't so much a Tyler Reddick runaway, but I think you had the idea, at least through most of the last two-thirds of the race or so, that the win was going to go through the two-car one way or another.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I got to give credit to Noah Gragson, though. He finished second with a damaged race car. Had some damage from an earlier incident, and they taped that bad boy up, and he came right back through there and did a pretty good job. That's the best run he's had, you know, since he's been in the Xfinity Series. But good job.
I think Reddick has shown two things to this point in the season. Number one, the road to the championship goes through the deuce, which to me is amazing, honestly. Yeah. What he's been able to accomplish with Richard Childress Racing this year, to come over and just be that good all year long. But secondly, this will probably be his final year in the Xfinity Series, because I'm pretty sure we're going to see a 31 car on the track next year in the Cup Series with Tyler's name on it. Yeah. And again, I don't think resources to do it are going to be an issue. I think Tyler Reddick goes full-time to Cup in 2020 and maybe walks off with back-to-back Xfinity Series championships, which is, I mean, to me, that would be amazing.
The last two guys to do that were Chase Elliott and Martin Truex Jr., and look where they are right now.
The
cool thing about Tyler Reddick, though, is I think last year, being with the Junior Motorsports, winning the Daytona 500, and then not winning another race until the championship, I think that gave him the motivation to go, you know what, I'm better than this. Like, I'm better than the performance that I was having at Junior Motorsports, and getting a fresh start with the RCR, and now getting to, what is he, at 5 wins now for the year?
I think so. I think it's 5. Yeah. And the thing is you're right. I agree with you totally. Yeah. I think it's
like a renewed rejuvenation of going, you know, I'm going to prove to you that it's the whole Xfinity Series isn't about Junior Motorsports all the time. RCR is a great program. They're trusting me to come on board and make this program something again, because I don't think the 2 car has been fast since Brian Scott has been in the car. It showed signs of speed here and there, but
it's had speed. It just hasn't.
Well, you got to think RCR cut their program back to one full-time car, and you got to think now Reddick can say, hey, that championship last year, it wasn't a fluke.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's kind of where I go with this whole thing with RCR, because, Daniel Hemrick certainly did everything but win the 21 car. And when Matt Tifton, the Deuce, had, he gave the Deuce a number of really strong rides, but you had 4 or 5 cars, and you split the best people and the best resources, and now you're focusing on one car, which is something that Tyler didn't have with Junior Motorsports, I might add. He did not have a one-car deal, obviously. So I think this fits him to a T, and he's really come into his own. And you're right, Gregson deserves a huge pat on the back, because his performance, again, the last few races has started to really elevate. You can see him growing into the part.
Yeah.
This was a big step up for him, even though he'd had a couple of really strong runs in the Gibbs car last year. Running full-time in the series is a whole different deal, and this has been a big step for Noah. And Noah wears his emotions on his sleeve.
Right.
And I think he's unnecessarily hard on himself sometimes. So I think it's taken him a while to really kind of get locked in and comfortable and to be able to go out and do what Noah can do. Well, and that was a good run.
I felt like something. Go ahead, Chris.
And it's good to see Junior Motorsports as a whole on an uptick, because, we saw Michael Annett at Daytona take the win, and then there really hasn't been much out of the Chevrolet camp in terms of wins.
Even Allgaier hasn't been as fast as he normally has been.
Junior Motorsports this season, to me, has been really off.
But see, I think that's why Noah was having such a hard time at the beginning of the year, because he moved over from Kyle Busch Motorsports to a team that had so many expectations because of their performances last year, and driving for Junior probably doesn't help.
Right.
So he had his own expectations, because like you said, Noah's a guy that wears everything on his sleeve. Like he is so, enthused in what he's doing that he always wants to be the best. And to go out and not getting the performances that he knows he's capable of and the team is capable of makes him be much more emotional about things and go, I know I'm better than this, and he's trying to prove himself. And now he's starting to relax a little bit and go, okay, now I know how to do this. Now I know how to drive these cars. Now I know how to tell my team what I want, tell my crew chief what I want. And it's making him a stronger driver. It's just taking a little bit of time for him to come on.
Right, and Chris makes a good point, because Junior Motorsports has lacked speed. It's been a speed issue. They've been off in the speed a little bit for a good bit of this year. And Michael Annett finishing third right behind Noah. Paul Menard, a good run in the 12 car for fourth. Not a huge surprise. He's really good at that track. Justin Allgaier finished fifth, so we have basically 3 Junior Motorsports cars in the top 5. Brandon Jones, nice run for sixth. He's another driver that, Brandon has been fast race after race after race after race, and it seems like either he makes a mistake or somebody else makes a mistake or the car breaks. He just hasn't been able to put complete shows together. And good to see him get a top 6 finish. Chase Briscoe, a nice run for 7th. John Hunter Nemechek 8th, Jeb Burton 9th, and Justin Haley 10th. If you scroll down a few spots, you see Cole Custer and Christopher Bell. They were 12th and 13th, and I find this interesting because there's the 2 guys, or 2 of the 3 guys, at least, that you figure would be in the Final Four competing for the championship, and not their day. 12th and 13th on the day, and Ross Chastain hanging around 14th.
We're talking about mulligans, and being able to have a bad day and still be able to come away with a good finish at the end of the day, or even having that one bad race, but then clearing your mind and being able to be okay. But it's weird for both of them to have a bad day on the same day, and hopefully the bottom doesn't fall out for either one of those teams, because Christopher Bell did that last year. He was in such a hot streak, and then slowly but surely kind of faded away and then came back up, but it was already too late.
Yeah.
In the season by the time he rebounded from the troubles he had in the summer. So hopefully, that's not the case, because those 2, along with Tyler Reddick, have dominated the Xfinity Series this year.
Well, they have. Yeah, absolutely. And we missed 11th place was Austin Cindric. Again, another driver that you just keep eventually Austin's going to get his win. He just hasn't yet. By the way, speaking of Austin's, Blake Harris reminding us in our chat, Austin Dillon was the winner of Stage 2 today.
Yes. His first ever stage win.
His first ever stage win, which
Thanks,
honestly
Blake.
is kind of hard to believe for me.
It is kind of hard to believe.
Because you see him often at the end of stages running up there for a win, and it's hard to believe that was the first one. So
he won a Daytona 500 before he won a stage.
Yeah, really?
That is insane.
And he won a 600
he won a 600
before he won a stage.
Yes.
So he won 2 of the 3
Triple Crown races.
Triple Crowns, or 2 of the 3 biggest trophies of the sport before he got a stage, which is kind of interesting. So
can I give a nod to a driver
Sure you can.
who's on an upswing and doing really,
Absolutely.
really
What
good?
kind of show do you think we have, Chris? We don't do that here.
Man.
But we'll make an exception for
We'll
you.
make an exception to you.
Go ahead.
You have control.
Justin Haley.
Yes.
He's gotten 2 solid top 10s in a row, and I feel like him, being a rookie in the Xfinity Series and sort of getting to know Colleague a little bit better. A new team. His relationship with Chris Rice is some of the funniest stuff you'll ever see on social media. But as a team and as an organization, sort of figuring themselves out as the full-time car and bringing those guys in like an Austin Dillon or an Elliott Sadler or Ross Chastain even has to be a huge help to him, and I know he's taking all of that in and he's doing a really good job.
Unfortunately, he has to work with Chris Rice.
Well,
so.
you and I had
Chris. If you're listening, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you and I had Chris on the Inside Pass a couple weeks ago. Just a crack-up show. It was great. And Chris
he knows
is,
I'm kidding.
And Chris really enjoys Justin, and that's. We were joking about, how Justin had asked for paid time off for Richmond weekend because he wasn't, he said he basically, as the reason he wrote, I'm not good there. Put Kaz Gralla in the car. He's good there. And we asked Chris if Justin got the weekend off. He said no.
He gave you Friday and Saturday,
Yeah.
or Friday and Sunday, or something like that. But I've known Chris for a long time.
That's right. You gave Friday and Sunday off.
I've known Chris for a long
Saturday.
time, and I know that Colleague has struggled for the last several years with Blake Cook and
Blake Harris. Now, see, he would love to drive that
Blake
car.
would love to drive that car, but I don't think that's safe for anybody. But with Blake Cook and with Ryan Truex, and now with Justin Haley. And I can tell that there's a huge difference of his whole outlook on the team, and
Sure.
having Justin on the team too makes a whole lot of difference.
Yeah, we talked to Justin a couple weeks ago too, and he was just so excited to be there and loves the small team atmosphere. And he's going to get better as the year goes on. We're going to step aside. When we come back, our first guest of the evening, we're talking about modifieds. Why? Because it's my show, and I love them, damn it. We'll be back with more of Lead Lap Radio, presented by HMS Motorsport, right after this.
Everywhere you go, you hear it, and you see it. It's coming at you through your phone, your tablet, and your computer. It's broadcast from your favorite radio station, TV networks, and cable companies. It's in the stadiums, the arenas, the ballparks. It screams for your attention at the mall. It's interactive on Main Street. It's even coming at you from the gas pump at the nearby convenience store. What is it? It's digital content. It's digital content. It's digital content. Somebody has to create it. Somebody has to manage it. So whether your dream is to write it, design it, create it, call it, produce it, voice it, host it, light it, shoot it, switch it, record it, color correct it, edit it, code it, repurpose it, tweet it, blog it, post it, compress it, upload it, replay it, or make sure it gets to where it's got to go when it's got to get there in the format it's got to be in, you need to attend
Carolina School of Broadcasting.
The skills you will learn, the experience you will get, and the connections you will make at Carolina School of Broadcasting will open the doors to the career you want in digital content creation and digital content management. Call or come by today. Click csbradiotv.edu.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Tyler Dippel, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
You know what? I want Chris to be able to create a little figure of Jacob and put it right there, so that even when he's not here, when Dipple's thing comes on, he does that Dipple dance that he did like a month ago.
Still Dipple him, yeah.
I still have nightmares of that.
Yeah, it's if you missed it, well, maybe we'll find the clip and post it at some point on our Race Chaser Media Facebook page because Jacob Seelman Dippling was pretty funny.
So while we were gone, I'm trying to get Blake a ride with colleague. Right now it's a Legends car, but Blake wants to race on dirt, and I told him no. Chris only wants to do it in the Walmart parking lot. So if you ever see a Legends car doing donuts on the Walmart parking lot, it's probably Blake Harris. Hey, by the way, the race is 15 laps from the end, and we have a new leader, ladies and gentlemen. William Byron is leading at Michigan with 15
William Byron.
Ryan Preece is in second.
Oh, hey, our New England crowd will love that.
Yep, there you go.
I'm actually surprised that our first guest of the evening didn't hang up on us to tune in to see if his arch rival Ryan Preece actually wins this race. Doug Coby, welcome to the show, and happy to have you back. We know that Ryan's at least in second here, running well at Michigan as we talk here, but you also got yourself a win a couple of weeks ago, and we're happy about that.
Yeah. Well, first off, I didn't even know that Ryan was up front. I saw earlier in the race he was in the 20s, so I might hang up on you guys to watch the last couple laps here. Lucky for him, though, I'm driving, so it's one of those times where I think you guys got me locked in. So, yeah, it'd be awesome to see him get a top 5 finish. That'd be great for their team. And like you said, for our team, picked up a great win at Seaconk and certainly off to an awesome start this season in 2019.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your season so far. Talk about your season because, obviously last season was a struggle for you at the start. This season, it was almost like you found something right away, and you've been able to maintain that. And, this feels like a Coby championship season, except for the fact that there are some other really fast cars that, I just feel like this year's tour could go right down to the wire again. And it's fun to see you guys dice it out and not know who's going to win from track to track. This has been fun to watch.
Yeah, there's certainly some really strong cars. Of course, Justin Bonsignore's had his ups and downs this year, and he's already got 2 wins now at Thompson, so he's going to be strong, and it might go down to the wire, or it might be over a lot sooner than that, and could work in our favor or against us. So we're just trying to go race to race and really put our best foot forward and put some fast race cars on the track and make the right decisions in practice. And I would say that's kind of been the story of our season so far, is that we've gone to every race with a very well-prepared car by my crew chief, Phil Moran, and, we're hungry for more wins, and we're hungry for another championship. And last year was, certainly a subpar year for us, kind of given our standards that we had set. And we're kind of chasing after things here, so it's been a lot of fun so far. We've got 3 wins in the first 7 races, and I truly feel like we could have had 2 more. I think we had wins get away from us already. So, it's great to be fast, but we just got to keep chipping away and getting good finishes.
What is Seekonk like to drive? Because I've been there to watch, but I've never seen modifieds there. I've only seen smaller cars and I think street stocks or whatever. But I've never seen a modified race at Seekonk. I didn't get to watch, unfortunately, the broadcast of the tour race there. But what's it like to drive? Because it just seems like such a bull ring. But yet, with the corners the way they are, it seems like it could be actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would say it's like driving a motorcycle in a fishbowl. You just try to go as fast as you can, and you just really can't go fast. So I've been there as a spectator, and it's a great track to watch at because they have seating all the way around the whole facility. So you can really get some cool angles and watch how the cars come off the corner and come up to we call it like the top of the hill, and off on the back stretches like a little, hill that you drive up. But I'll tell you what, as a driver in a modified, it's tough to stay disciplined for the whole race because you're really not using much more than half of your entire horsepower allotment. So the best way to go fast there is to go slow, and that's a tough thing for drivers to do when you have such great handling cars and great horsepower under you. It's really hard to not use it, and it's certainly a track that a lot of drivers just despise going to. Teddy Christopher was one of them. I mean, he hated Seekonk because it's just a track that a guy like Ted never wanted to go a quarter to half throttle to try to be fast. I mean, he wants to go fast,
right?
And when the fans watch us there, the crazy thing is it really looks like we're getting after it. And I think that when the cars are side by side and there's really good racing there, it's a good show, which is really great for the race fans. It's just a challenge from a driver standpoint.
I can imagine that it is. And you go from there to a track like Thompson. I mean, you talk about two polar opposites, right?
Yeah, I mean, even going from, Wall to Seekonk, to Thompson, it's like you got Seekonk sandwiched in between two really aggressive, fast racetracks, and that's fun. I think it's fun for us as drivers. I think we enjoy that kind of stuff. I know I do. I love going. We raced Seekonk on Saturday, and we were at Thompson on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we took the same car from Seekonk to Thompson, so we won the pole at both tracks, and I got a first and a second. So it was a good week for that car.
What do you change setup-wise, of course, without giving away any secrets? What do you change setup-wise to go from Seekonk to Thompson like that? Because, again, it's almost two diametrically opposed types of tracks.
Yeah, it's everything getting changed. Phil, I can guarantee you, as soon as the car got back on Saturday night from Seekonk, Phil was there Sunday morning, starting to switch over the setup. And, he's got, a lot of tricks and a lot of secrets. And he's also got a lot of equipment that we have in the shop that makes it easier for him.
Sure.
He's got a gale force machine that he's able to, put the shocks and springs on that, most guys super late model and touring series are using these days. And that certainly helps get the setups more accurate in a shorter period of time. And, for him, going to Thompson, it's a place where Phil's probably set up a car, 100 times already. And, it's just one of those things where, we were really strong at the icebreaker, so we took our, setup basically from the icebreaker, and he put it back in the car to go back last Wednesday.
Well, you're certainly on a roll. I mean, the first and the second is two really, really good outings. Obviously, Justin beating you at Thompson, but it seems like you guys could be after it all year. And again, it's fun for us as fans to watch that sort of thing because you don't want to see one driver. I know you would love to win 10 in a row and just put the thing away or whatever, but it's so much more entertaining when there's kind of a rivalry and there's a little back and forth and okay, he's better over here. That's what modified racing has always been, going back to the days of Evans and Cook or Evans and Troyer or Bodine or all the obviously the New England guys, DeSaro, Stevens, whoever. To me, this season just feels like a bit of an old-fashioned modified throwdown every time you guys hit the racetrack because there's a number of you running really well.
Yeah, Justin and I are friendly rivals.
Yeah.
We respect one another, and certainly when they're on their game, they're on their game, and when we're on our game, they know the same thing. But I don't want to count out, Ronnie Silk and the '85 team. Just a great turnaround that they had
for
from,
sure.
Several years ago when the '85 came to the tour, they were a top 10 car, but they were just barely a top 10 car, and now they won at South Boston, and they're basically, I think they have 5 top 5s in their first 7 races, and certainly Craig Lutz with the 46, they're knocking on the door for their first win. So a lot of good things happening on the tour. Lots of rivalries within the rivalries. You know what I mean? We all want to win, and you might say it's always about me and Justin, but that's not really the case when you have a great series of drivers and crew chiefs and ultra competitive teams. Teams that just really will do whatever it takes to win. Look at how many teams now have switched over to the LFR chassis after the success that both us and the 51 had, winning races and championships with it. Now you have, no less than 8 or 9 of them out there at every racetrack, and all of those guys have stepped up their game. So it makes for better racing for the series, and it's better for the fans. And kind of at this stage of my career, that's, probably the most important, other than winning, for our team. I just want our series to put on a good show and put our best foot forward and be exciting for race fans.
No doubt. And we didn't talk about Woody Pitcat. You've got a 31-point lead over Silk right now. But that's hardly safe at this point in the season. And it's been interesting to see guys like Patrick Emmerling, and of course Burt Myers from down south here has made some good runs, and it's the Catalanos. Like I said, this feels a little bit more like an old-fashioned modified season. But you mentioned a lot more people moving to LFR. What are your thoughts, or do you even have any thoughts about the whole kind of merger that's going on between Troyer and LFR? It's intriguing to me as a fan and as someone who's been around a long time, to remember, of course, when Maynard actually started Troyer years ago. How much do you think this really affects modified racing going forward, or do we even know at this point?
I don't think we really know, and truthfully, I've been asked a lot of comments on that merger, and then also the kind of the feud between LFR and Fury with taking credit for whatever chassis are out there now. Ultimately, I just want the two teams to run good, and I feel like we are, and we're going to run good no matter. I've won championships and races in trailer cars before. I've won with the LFR car. Whether it was manufactured in North Carolina or it's going to be manufactured in Rochester, I kind of feel like our series is always one where everybody has great equipment, but it really takes the whole package to make that great equipment into a winning car or a championship car. And, I think it's really proving once again that it's really the people behind the teams, from the crew chief to the driver to the crews, that make the difference between a winning team and a 10th or 15th place team. And it's like that in all forms of racing. So ultimately, what other people choose to do with their businesses to try to either grow or cement themselves in business in a certain, competitive environment, I don't really have a say on that because it's nothing that I can control. And we just want to, like I said, keep putting fast race cars on the track and keep winning races. And ultimately, our team doesn't care where the parts are manufactured, who does it, and how they got to that point. Ultimately, for us, it's just about proving that our team, even if we're out there with a bunch of people want to say it's going to be cookie cutter cars, like an IROC series, we still want to win the IROC series if that's the case. And that would even make us more proud that nobody can say that we have an unfair advantage like they were saying when we first had the LFR car, that we had, a car that was significantly better than other people. So at this point, I say, it's game on for these guys with business, and I'm happy to see, no matter what, I'm happy to see people talking about our series and our cars, and not just at the regional level. We're getting a lot of national coverage. Certainly Ryan's success is helping with that, and getting lots of mentions during cup races. And that's stuff that people will start noticing, along with the live coverage of our races on fanschoice.tv, along with the replays on NBC a lot easier access for race fans across the country to get their modified fix.
Absolutely, which is all good in my book. And we're going to step aside. We'll have more with Doug Coby right around the turn here as Lead Lap Radio will roll into hour number 2, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety, right after this.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem and no excuses, because it's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
The Performance Motorsports Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication. But it's those tough choices that helped me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Hi, I'm Timmy Salamito, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Speaking of modified aces, Timmy Salamito bringing us back from break as we begin our second hour of Lead Lap Radio, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. You can find them on the web, hmsmotorsport.com. Randy, you got an update on the Cup race?
They're actually in overtime right now. There's 2 laps to go. So
2 laps
yes.
to go. Who is leading?
Back on the green. Oh, Joey Logano.
Logano's leading again. Okay, where did Priest go?
I don't know. It's kind of blurry. I'll have to try to find him in a second.
Okay.
Carry on. I will find him momentarily.
We'll keep talking with Coby, and Randy will update us in a moment. But Doug, we were talking before the break about the merger and all of that. One of the things that I've always enjoyed about modified racing is the fact that no matter what chassis somebody's driving, to me it's still a driver's series. I mean, I remember growing up, obviously Richie built his own cars, Maynard Troyer built his own cars, Jerry Cook had, I think, probably mostly Troyers, I don't know. But, you know, you had a number of different chassis. We had Chassis Dynamics cars, and I think those are still out there with Bob Cuneo and Bobby V and such. But this series has always been about drivers and about rivalries on the racetrack. And you know, that to me is what makes modified racing special. And I don't think we can always say that about the National Series. I feel like this is the one series in NASCAR where it's always about the drivers.
Yeah, and you know the difference between the modifieds is that we have adult drivers in our cars. You know, a lot of seasoned drivers with a lot of experience and laps. And you know, not to knock any of the other series, but it just seems like, you know, we haven't necessarily succumbed to the youth movement that has been so persistent in the regional touring series, and you know, now right up really to the Xfinity series as far as I'm concerned. Not to say that anybody's not a good driver, but, we are very experienced drivers who have been racing, just about our whole lives. And once we get some experience on these tracks and start working with great crew chiefs like mine and some of the other very knowledgeable modified guys in the pit area, it really makes for some special racing and, like you said, some good rivalries. And, you have rivalries from the teams that race modifieds full-time at Riverhead on Long Island, and then you got a lot of the Connecticut guys who have, rivalries from, racing in SKs at the Connecticut track. And we're just a really competitive part of the country when it comes to weekly and regional racing. Some of the fields at Stafford, I think they started 28 or 29 SKs last Friday night at Stafford, where they have a handicap system, so the fastest guys don't start up front. And, you'll always hear Keith Rocco when he's ribbing Philip Morris and Lee Pulliam about how they got all their wins in the national points chase for the weekly series. He always mentions the fact that we handicap up here in Connecticut, and you have to start 12th to win at Stafford. So, it's a great place to have rivalries, modifieds, whether it's SKs, SK Lights, or full-blown tour modifieds. They're really fun cars to drive, and it's really great for us to have the opportunity to drive these cars up here in the Northeast that people around the country just won't even get to experience.
It really is interesting. I mean, the point you bring up about the youth movement's one thing, and I think there's definitely some validity to that, because I think the fact that you guys have been around a long time, you built your fan bases, you've sort of built the friendly rivalries with each other. I think that definitely plays into the marketability of the series and also obviously the fans. But I think the point that you make about the SKs, I know, being from New York State, we had, and they still do, the sport mods, so to speak, which are basically an SK. And I feel like in New York, they kind of became the main class where they didn't so much in New England. The Tour modifieds are still very much prevalent, and there are other modified series besides the Whelen Tour. But boy, the SK modified division in New England is as or more competitive than the modifieds are. And it's pretty amazing how that sort of blew up a number of years ago, and it's become just some amazing racing to watch at some of those tracks up there. And Rocco's a great driver, and I think he makes a great point, because I've never liked starting the fast guys up front, and I have railed a number of times against the fact that we do that down here in the South all the time. To me, that's just lazy.
Yeah, it's just a different way of racing, and I guess that's always how it's been up here with, the handicapping done at Stafford and Thompson and Waterford, and most of the other tracks in New Hampshire and around New England have kind of followed suit in a sense, and that's just what everybody does here. I just know that we just have competitive drivers and great drivers that I feel like could make an impact on NASCAR and other parts, not just NASCAR, other forms of racing.
Sure.
And it's really it's really cool how you see us all have these rivalries, and it's like almost like we hate each other. And then when somebody like Brian Priest gets a chance to do something, on a national stage to represent all of us, we're all suddenly on the same team,
Exactly.
We have a huge chip on our shoulder up here in New England, because we don't think many of those kids that run in some of these other series, whether it be ARCA or Can-Am and the Truck Series, we don't think they could even really run in the top 10 in our series. And, so far, I don't know. It's just it's the feeling that we have, generally speaking. It's just something that we feel is true, that we're very very well qualified to move up into other levels, and Ryan's certainly proving that for all of us.
Sure is. And then, of course, on the other side of the coin, a young kid like Max McLaughlin jumps into an SK and goes out and almost wins the race right out of the box, proving, I guess, that he certainly, as if we needed more proof, that he certainly got magic shoes talent. Max is a pretty special kid, but a good example of a young kid who's got it together and has had a lot of experience in a lot of different cars for someone so young, which I think really played into that.
Yeah, he has the modified blood, though. So
yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
No matter whatever he races, he's got the modified blood, and he did a great job at Thompson. I got to see that replay, and Thompson's not an easy place to run an SK. It's kind of like it's oddly enough like a draft comes into play, and Ryan ended up beating him, but he certainly did a great job because Ryan has a million laps around there in an SK, and he was driving one of Pete's cars, which is certainly well prepared and ready to go, but the driver still got to turn the wheel, and he did a great job coming up through traffic and getting the lead, and just didn't have enough to hang on to hold off Ryan. But I'd love him to come run a tour modified. I think that would be maybe a nice next step for him. And it's, that kind of stuff is good for all of us. It's just like when a few of us ran the K&N race at Thompson a couple of years back. You had me and Ryan and somebody else was in the field from New England. You had us kind of out there, racing with those other guys and coming away with good, strong runs. And I think that again shows that we have that chip, and we just want to prove that the best in New England can take on the best anywhere, and that's kind of how we've always been.
Oh, absolutely. Well, he did a great job, and I'd love to see him in a tour mod, too. And I think he would love to see himself in a tour mod at some point. I know he got instantly hooked the other day for sure. And I'd also like to see him do the other thing his dad did up north so well and jump in a super modified at some point at Oswego. I think that would be a whole lot of fun. But we got just a couple of minutes left here, and as you know, we always like to give you guys an opportunity to say thank you to all of those who helped make it happen for you. And you certainly got a pretty long list, so go ahead.
Yeah, I do for sure. Our primary sponsor, Major Tools, is certainly enjoying the successes of our great season so far with a lot of press coverage. But we've got some other great associate sponsors. Reynolds Auto Wrecking is a really important sponsor for me. They just came back to support me this year, and it's really great to have Kim and the family back on board. And just real quick, LFR, Draco Springs, Willwood Brakes, Bob Bruno Racing Engines, Robert Yates Racing Engines, Solar Power Batteries, JRI Shocks. We switched over. That's kind of been our big story this year, going to Brandon Ernest and Ernest Performance and getting on the JRI Shock package. And, I've been pretty quick to credit them with helping turn our season around and get us in the right direction. So all these great sponsors make it happen for us, and then we get to go out there and have our fun and race day.
Well, and you do a great job, and we always appreciate having you on, Doug, because you're just a great guy and a fun guest and a terrific wheelman. So we'll let you go and look forward to talking to you again soon. If you win another one, I think we'll probably have you back on pretty quick.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, guys. Always appreciate having me.
Anytime, Doug. That's Doug Coby. Off he goes from the StrutMasters.com hotline. And, of course, StrutMasters, the suspension experts. Whether you got a car or a motorcycle, if you want to improve your ride, it's real simple. Call them or jump on StrutMasters.com. They've got what you need, and we will be right back with more of Lead Lap Radio and that friendly rival that Doug Coby talked about earlier. Justin Bonsignore joins us right around the turn.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today, 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay. Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now.
Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Hi, I'm Dylan Bassett, and you're listening to Race Talk on Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio as our second hour continues. We had a good chat with Doug Coby, the winner at Seekonk Speedway on the NASCAR Whelen Tour not too awfully long ago here. And we're going to chat in a moment with the winner of the Thompson Speedway race that took place last week on the tour, Justin Bonsignore. But real quick before we do that, we'll get into detail about this after we talk to Justin. But Joey Logano picking up the win at Michigan this evening.
Is that 100 and a lot of laps?
Yeah, 163 laps to be exact. Kurt Busch coming up for second. He is getting closer to a win. Martin Truex third. Suarez, a nice run for fourth of the 41. And Kyle Busch rounding out the top five. We got all excited because Ryan Blaney was running second, but he must have had to make a pit stop because he ended up finishing in 25th with his JTG Doherty Racing Chevrolet. And with that, we transition to back to the modifieds where Ryan came from. And we'll talk to Justin Bonsignore. Justin, first of all, welcome back to the show. We're always excited to have you on the program. And congratulations on a nice run at Thompson. You and Coby have kind of a nice little back and forth going here, it seems like, lately.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me on. It's been a pretty good start to the year. Not as great as Doug's, but we have 2 wins through the first half of the season, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. So it's been a up and down season, but we seem to have things pointing in the right direction right now, and good momentum heading forward.
Well, you're 39 points back at this point behind Doug with Ron Silk stuck in the middle. And boy, Doug and I were talking about Ron a little bit. What a story that team has been this year.
Yeah, they've been really, really good. My crew chief Ryan and Ronnie are really close friends, and been friends with Ron a long time, and it's good to see that team having success. They got their first win earlier this year, and they've been consistently in that top 3 to top 5 almost every week, and their consistency is what's keeping them solidly in the points right now. And there's no lack of brains on that team. Ronnie's really smart. They got a really good crew behind them, really good owners. So it's cool to see that team having success and Ronnie having a full-time ride on the tour again. And it's good to have a past champion that's back full-time with us.
It's really interesting because looking at your stats and Doug's, it's true that you haven't had quite as good a start to the season, but really 39 points at this point in the year, still not at all an insurmountable, deficit for you to make up. But I was saying to Doug that I feel like this year has been really almost like an old-fashioned modified year with the Evans and the Cook and the Troyer and whoever else just fighting over the title. There's really a number of you that are running very, very well this year, and it seems like every race that you go to, there's somebody else who kind of steps up their game or comes out of nowhere and has a good run. Does it feel like that to you? I mean, we've had championship races with 3 or more drivers in recent past, but this year just seems like that much more competitive at the top end.
Yeah, Tour's in very, very good shape right now.
Yeah.
Great car count. A lot of really good teams and a lot of up-and-comers. Obviously you got the few of us that have been here for a while, but, guys like Craig Lutz are starting to finally break through and have been together now for a year or two and are starting to show a lot of speed. And Craig was really close the other night. If it went green, he probably would have, challenged us for the win right to the end. So the competition's there. It's really, really good right now with the Tour. I'm happy with the car counts and how things are going. But you still got the same couple guys at the top that are fighting, and every week we have to go to the track, and I still feel the two is the team to beat. So we're still fighting them and giving them everything we can to contend for wins on a weekly basis.
It's been interesting kind of how that's, last year I feel like you guys were the team to beat, and he was just a little bit off at the beginning, and then this year it seems like he came out of the box strong and you came out of the box strong, but it's just been, it seems like we talk a lot about the two of you, but as he said and you have pointed out, there are a number of drivers who are capable of winning on any given day on the Tour, and it really still is kind of a very pure form of racing in that sense. You haven't seen, as Doug pointed out, you've got some young drivers like, Blake Barney and Matt Swanson and, Chase Dowling when he runs, but you don't see an overabundance of younger racers. You guys have been around a while. It's really a kind of a throwdown every time you guys go out on the track somewhere and get at it.
Yeah, without a doubt. There's a nice gap right now. You have the veterans. It's crazy to think this is our 10th year doing it. Doug's been doing it a lot longer. Ronnie Silk, Woody Pickett. A lot of guys have been at this a long time. But then you do have the next generation that's coming up, and will lead us into the future here and bring in the younger fan base and bring new eyes to the series. Like Lutz and Dowling when he runs, Barney, a lot of young guys coming up. But it's a tough series to compete in. You kind of have to earn your keep and pay your dues, and it's not something where you typically a guy just comes in and will dominate the series as a rookie or a new guy. So it's still like that old-fashioned type of racing, and the rules kind of allow it to be that way with the way the modified race and the rules package that NASCAR keeps us under to keep our cars keeping the aero and the technology kind of out of our series, which is a great thing. So a lot of pure forms still in our series, and I think like I said, I think the series is in a good shape right now. Hopefully it can continue to trend upwards. We got really good car counts. Sent some people home the other night from Seekonk, which is, you never want to send people home, but I think it's great to see that there's that many cars at the racetrack. So a lot of positives going right now, and I'm glad we're one of the teams that on a weekly basis is at the top. We show a lot of speed every week, but unfortunately racing's not all about speed, and you have to execute from start to finish on a whole race, and that's where Doug's beating us right now. We've had a few mulligans at the beginning of the year, and didn't capitalize, didn't have the racing luck, I think it is. If you don't get the right restart, you don't make the right pit call, get caught in a wreck. There's so much that goes into these races, and he's had everything go his way kind of like we did last year. So hopefully, not hopefully, but, you as a team, we kind of hope he has a mulligan to kind of get us a little closer and get us back in it. But, if not, if they don't and they outright beat us, they obviously deserve to be the champion. So still too early to think about that, but, we are getting close to halfway here, and we've hit our stride. I think our cars are as fast as they've ever been. He's right there with us, Ronnie, Lutz. There's a lot of guys that are real close. So I think, it should be a good summer stretch here and a lot of fun for the fans.
Well, for sure, a lot of fun for the fans. What is it with you and Thompson? I mean, you just seem to have it all together there. You've already picked up 2.
Yeah, we just have a great setup, and it just goes back to Ryan Stone and the team. And Ryan brings great cars to the racetrack every week. But when we go to Thompson, we've hit on something that I like in the race car, and he's found. And he does an unbelievable job of coming to the track well prepared and comes off the truck really fast, and we just have to fine tune it through practice, and that's a big part of it. And the car just has a lot of speed built into it, and at the same time, it'll go a long distance on tires. It doesn't wear the tires out. So I think last week was probably the best car we've had from start to finish during this streak of 6 in a row, which is good for us. I think we're not staying on what worked last year. We're continuing to evolve and try new things, and I think that's the best car I've had during this stretch. I haven't really had the most dominant car in maybe only one of the other races. Last year we had a really good car. We've kind of just had the racing luck go our way, whether pit stops or other guys having misfortune. So, like I said, a lot goes into winning these races, and but a fast car at the end of the day will help. So we've won them in a lot of different ways, and but I really do think we've taken a step forward at Thompson with our car this past week. So I'm excited to go back there in August and just, hopefully continue the streak. But obviously at some point, it's going to end, and you just got to be mentally prepared to accept it and, try and go back the next time after that and win again. So, but it's pretty amazing what we've been able to accomplish there, and a lot of it goes back to the team and the pit crew and just everybody involved, and teams, the owners, sponsors, everybody. It's pretty cool to have a record, I believe, all to ourselves now of any racetrack. I don't know if anybody's ever won 6 in a row at any track. So pretty cool accomplishment that we'll be proud of, and something 20 years from now you could talk to your friends and family about.
Yeah, it definitely is, for sure. And I was joking with Doug about going from Seekonk to Thompson, and you go from Thompson to Riverhead. So you got to love the way the tour schedule is set up. It seems like you go from bullring to big fast track, back to a bullring to a big, and you really got to be on top of it the whole time.
Yeah, that's the great part of our series, and we continue to keep adding new tracks. Obviously, we got Martinsville next year, so there's a lot of diversity in our schedule. Whether it be a big track like Myrtle Beach where you got to save tires, or a big track like South Boston where you're going as hard as you can in qualifying laps the whole time, or you go down to these little bull rings like Seekonk where you're just running quarter to half throttle all night. It's there's a lot of different types of racetracks. I think that's what rounds the drivers out, rounds the series out as a whole. And I think it's at the end of the year you do have a true champion because you've succeeded on almost every type of racetrack that we could possibly race on.
Well, that's for sure. And you mentioned Martinsville. We're going to talk to you in a little more detail about what you think about going back to Martinsville next year here in a bit. But we got to step aside right now, and we'll take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have a little more with Justin Bonsignore, and we've got Cars Tour to talk about, not to mention some open wheel stuff later in the show as well. And again, if you missed the end of today's Michigan race, Joey Logano picking up the victory there. So another win for Joey and the 22 team. Not a huge surprise, I don't think, but certainly a big win for Ford, as this is kind of a manufacturer's deal up there. So we're going to step aside. More of Justin Bonsignore around the turn. You're listening to Lead Lap Radio or watching Lead Lap Radio on Performance Motorsports Network and Race Chaser Media's Facebook Live. We'll be back.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speeds, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves a majority of NASCAR, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schubert helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Valero fireproof underwear, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the staff at HMS is always ready to take the time and help you find the right product for your specific safety needs. You have family and friends who care about you, so don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Just stop in to HMS Motorsport, visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com, or send them a message on Facebook. Tell them the folks from Race Chaser Media sent you.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Brandon McReynolds, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. It's League Lap Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network and Race Chaser Media's Facebook Live. Tom Baker, Randy Miller, Chris Murdoch, all gathered round, putting on a show for you tonight. And, of course, show brought to you by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com. We talked about Strutmasters earlier. We're going to tell you about my computer career coming up in just a little bit. Right now, we carry on with Justin Bonsignore. And, Justin, we didn't get a chance to talk with Doug about this, but I want to get your 2 cents on the return of the modifieds to Martinsville in 2020. I know that is one Friday night that I already have blocked off on the calendar, and I couldn't be more ready because I can remember as a young man growing up in upstate New York in Oswego when MRN used to broadcast modified races live, and Martinsville was one of those tracks that we used to listen on the radio to the races, and just the names and the stars, and it was incredible, and I've always wanted to see the tour at Martinsville and never got to experience that. I can't wait for next year. What are your thoughts?
I think this is huge for our series. You know, we are getting back to having these marquee events and these big events on our schedule. We have the the Musket race up at New Hampshire now. We're adding Martinsville back, which, if everything goes as planned, it could hopefully be a yearly thing again. And for us to be the second stage race instead of the third or fourth of a weekend,
right,
just to be second to Cup is going to be huge. I think the fans are going to support it this time. I think it'll be well promoted, having a year in advance to take care of it. Obviously, there were some struggles the last few years we went there, but as a racer, I'm really excited. It was a lot of fun to race there in my rookie year. Obviously, I've come a long way in my career, and I would love to have another shot at racing for a grandfather clock. So I think it's a great thing. I've heard a lot of people already telling me, a lot of friends and fans that don't really come to a lot of tour races have already booked hotel rooms and already making plans to go down there, and that's 10, 11 months in advance. So I think they're going to do a great job. Hopefully we can put on a great race. Usually the racing there with our cars is really, really good. The fact that it'll be a nice springtime night race in the South will be good. It won't be 95, 100 degrees sitting in the grandstand. So I think it's got a lot of potential, just like the Musket race had last year, and that lived up to expectations. I think it has a lot of positives, and I think it's great for our series. And hopefully that's only the first of maybe potential other new racetracks that we can add back to the schedule. I think, like I said, I think everything is just really going well right now with our series, and I think as possibly the big three progress more in the next year or two, I think that could only help short track racing and the modifieds in particular, with maybe more scheduling races. So that's just my opinion on things. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do think there's a lot of potential, and I think it could be a really great annual event to add back to the schedule and to get down south and have more eyes on our series, and especially having Fans Choice and the tape delay races on NBC. It's great things going on right now, and just the more eyes that we can get on these races, the more people that'll come a day early to the Cup race, or they won't sit in their camper. They'll come into the stands and they'll watch what is the best racing, I feel.
Oh, I hope so, yeah. And I honestly believe that a modified prelim to the Cup race at Martinsville in the spring is the perfect show. And I want to know what, from your standpoint, what it's like to race there with a modified, because I can remember, again, when I was younger, it's always interesting because I grew up going to Oswego. It was a 5/8 mile track. Martinsville's a half, but when you're little, you don't really understand the difference in, banking or, with the corners or whatever. And when I see the average speed for a pole time at Martinsville is like 95 miles an hour, you just kind of like, what, really? It's got to be a hard track on brakes, even in modified, but what is it like to race there in a modified car?
Yeah, I mean, it was 10 years ago, and it was my rookie year, so it kind of all is a blur now, but just the grip level and how fast we were able to actually attack the corners and get through the center of a corner there. I don't really remember much else, but I do remember there being a lot of grip, and I actually felt like I adapted to the racetrack pretty well. We actually finished second that year and just missed out. In my rookie year, we came from a lap down. I do remember I dragged the jack down the road on my pit stop, got a lap down, and came back to finish second. It was a mess of a race. There was a lot of crashes, but we did come back to finish second, and it was a unbelievable experience to be there and to walk into the place and just see how all the history and everything that goes into those types of tracks. So I'm really, really excited to go back there. I think it's going to be an amazing event for our series.
Would be interesting to see if any of the NASCAR guys decide to drop down, or if they can, put rides together. I mean, that's always kind of fun to see some crossover in that sense, because modifieds obviously aren't something that those guys get to run all the time. We've seen Ryan Newman do it, and he's been very successful at it. Of course, Ryan Preece now is a NASCAR guy. We have to believe he would probably run it, but would be interesting to see if you get any of the other NASCAR guys to want to give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'm guarantee you'll see Priest there. I would safely assume that Newman would want to participate as well. It's always great when he gets into our series and puts more eyes on our fields. It doesn't do anything but help, and he's always fun to race against. He's hard nosed and aggressive, and he fits right in with the modified guys. So I mean, other than that, I don't know. There's not that many teams anymore that really just have driver owners where there's extra cars. A lot of these teams are family owned. So, I mean, you never know who might put something together, but, it'd be nice to get definitely those two and, maybe a few others. But, I don't know. I think some of these guys are scared of modified racing, they say. So we'll see if they want to come have some fun with us.
Well, it would be, I would think Martinsville would be the place to do it if they're going to do it. I mean, it's a short track, so it would be kind of fun. But you guys have a whole month off. You're not back in action until Riverhead on July the 6th, which is an interesting break in your schedule. What do you do for a month? And do you maybe go and run some SK stuff, or just kind of work on the race car and get it ready to go to Riverhead, and then the All-Star Shootout and the big one at New Hampshire in July?
Yeah, we the way the rainouts at Stafford ended up working out, we did race pretty much 4 times in a month. So it is nice for Ryan and the guys. Our cars are based in Connecticut, so I don't really get up there too often. But it is nice for Ryan and the guys to get a little bit of a break and regroup. We did race twice in 4 days, so they got to go through both cars and do the full maintenance and just go through everything. And obviously Wall Stadium was a tough one for us. So for Ryan to be able to catch his breath here and not have to rebuild the car again, it is nice, and we can enjoy some time off. Everybody can spend it with their families, these May and June months are tough for a lot of fans and family to travel with graduations and communions and all the different things that take place in this time of year. So it is a nice little break, and it's even better that the next one is at our home track, so we don't have to travel here for probably almost 6 or 7 weeks. Still loud, and so we'll have everything, both guns loaded for each of the next 2 races with both cars, and we're excited to catch a little break here. Unfortunately, honestly, it comes at a bad time when you have a second and a first, so you'd like to keep racing, but I won't do any other racing. I've been trying to work on maybe something for the Ice Club 300 this weekend, but it's already Monday night and haven't put any deals together. So we just kind of hang out at home, relax, take some time off, go watch some races at Riverhead if we're around on the weekends, but just kind of get back in the workflow and, kind of catch up on work before the summer stretch here comes and we got to take a million days off.
Yeah, because once it hits, obviously it's a busy couple of months for you, for sure. Once July hits, it's a busy stretch run. Okay, we know you have a bunch of people that help put this all together for you and keep you on the racetrack running for wins and championships. So give you a couple of minutes here to talk about them.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we've been with Ken and Janine Massa, M3 Technologies now for our 10th season together. It's the only team I've ever driven for, and very appreciative of everything we've been able to do together and for them to keep this deal going and always there to support me 100%. And all the guys on the team that led by Ryan Stone and all the pit crew guys and just the whole team that sacrifice all their time and their families for all that they sacrifice to allow them to go chase their dreams with us and have some fun on the weekends. And obviously Phoenix Communications, Clearcom IT, Fury Race Cars, LFR, Robert Yates Racing Engines, just everybody, all our product sponsors, everybody that is behind us with their support. And it takes a lot, and everybody gives up a lot of their time and effort, and we really appreciate all of them, and can't do it without any of them.
Okay, we got about a minute here, a little over. I want to throw this out to you because I asked Doug the same question. Obviously, a lot of conversation about, the merger between Troyer and LFR, the new partnership. What are your thoughts on that, and does it really affect too much of what you're doing with your season going on?
I don't really have much of an opinion on it. I just leave it up to Ryan Stone, and he's bringing great race cars to the track each week, and we got a great program right now. So it all goes back to what Ryan thinks is best for the team. He's been involved with these race cars since the beginning days, and I trust him fully to make the right decision. So whatever Ryan and Ken decide, I'll be there with my helmet, and whatever we got to drive, we'll drive.
Well, it's a great way to be, and certainly coming off a second and a first, you're on a momentum roll, and now you get a month to think about it before you come back to your home track and try to keep it going. Thank you, as always, Justin, for taking some time to pop on with us and talk racing with us and our fans, and we look forward to having you back again real soon as we get into that summer stretch.
Thanks, guys. It's always a pleasure to be on. It means we're doing good things, and hopefully we can get a couple more wins and come back on and talk to you guys.
You got it. Look forward to it. All right, that's Justin Bonsignore, and we are going to step aside. When we come back, we've got our lightning round, and boy, have we got some lightning to talk about. We got Lightning F1, we got Lightning Cars Tour, we got a thrilling IndyCar finish. We're going to do it rapid fire style when we come back here to the Lead Lap Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network and Race Chaser Media Facebook Live.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family-owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem and no excuses, because it's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You can start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Do you love the sound of high revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Matt Tift, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to Lead Lap Radio, presented by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com. Also want to say a special thank you this evening to our friends at mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life. If you are looking for a career change or maybe just looking for a career and just to do something different, IT might be a good choice for you, and it costs you nothing to figure it out. Go to mycomputercareer.edu. There's a free career evaluation test. You can take it if you feel like you're a good fit for a career in IT and that excites you. Then they've got financial aid available for those who are eligible, including the GI Bill. And, oh, by the way, they've got 7 campuses across the USA, or you can do it online. Doesn't even have to be a full-time thing. You can do it a few days a week. And in as little as 4 months, you could be in a position to fill one of the 2 million vacancies that we have right now, unfilled jobs in cybersecurity. Here's the deal. You don't have to be a pro at math and science. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu, training for a better life. Oh, yes, they do work with hundreds of employers so that once you are prepared to be out in the workforce, they will do their best to help make sure that you can wind up in a good position. With that, we come back. We talk about, a lot of things, really. This is our lightning round. Randy Miller continues to be alongside me here in the Race Chaser Studios. Chris Murdoch over there punching buttons and talking on the mic whenever he feels so inclined. And going to get group involved here, I think, for this. First of all, lots of topics to cover here. But for the Cars Tour, which is going to be my initial lightning round topic, I know, Chris, you may have something to say about this. Another thrilling finish in the Cars Tour race at Langley, Larry King Law's Langley Speedway over the weekend. Deke McCaskill getting a win after an interesting on track, I don't want to call it a confrontation, just good hard racing, but Bobby McCarty and Lane Riggs getting together, and who comes out with a win? The veteran, Deke McCaskill. Just a good run for him.
Yeah, it was really good, and I will say another thing. Josh Berry needs a bubble.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's either winning or something's happening. You're right. He needs a bubble.
He needs a bubble, and there were a couple good stories in there. Adam
Yeah.
Lemke getting fourth. You know,
Barry's teammate.
Yeah, it was a really good race. Deke coming out with the win is always good. I always enjoy talking to Deke when we get to go to the tracks. He's such an old school guy.
He is.
When it comes to racing and how he approaches it. So to see him get the win was amazing.
Yeah, definitely a very, very good race for the Cars Tour. And, of course, going to Dominion Raceway up in Virginia in a couple of weeks. That's going to be their next stop. We turn now and hit for a moment IndyCar. IndyCar, of course, at Texas, and a thriller of a finish. Joseph Newgarden ended up beating out Alex Rossi for the win. I feel like this is starting to be a nasty little habit for Rossi. He's this close. He's going to be bridesmaid, I feel like, for it's like second. He just can't quite get the win, but man, again, continuing to show his talent.
It sucks to be named Alex right now. Bowman can't win a race to save his life.
Lots
and
of
Rossi
seconds.
can't win a race to save his life.
Yeah.
But man, Newgarden he's going to be hard to beat this year, I think. I mean, his stock is going up. So.
Well, it's interesting for me because I sort of feel like that it's kind of a Penske story so often, and yet, here's Alex Rossi. He keeps trying to interrupt the party, crash the party, but he can't quite get there. But I thought, for the most part, a good race at Texas, and the thing for me that becomes obvious here is that IndyCar, I believe, Justin Bonsignore talking about the Modified Tour being in a good place. I think IndyCar's in a good place right now. Lots of talent in that series, and certainly putting on good shows everywhere they go. So a good run for Joseph Newgarden getting the win, and a good run for Alex Rossi to be second. We quickly move to F1. And, well, another penalty that we talk about, this time for somewhat of a kind of, sort of, pass in the grass, sort of. And, this is one of those deals where everybody's, slamming Sebastian Vettel and saying, well, it's his fault, he should have done that, or whatever, he made an unsafe move. I don't know that he had
when
much
you're
choice.
not the one in the car, though.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody does. Even in NASCAR, they do that. Oh, well, he should have, whatever. But you weren't the one behind the wheel of the car. So you can't make those. It's a split-second thing to have to make. And it sucks that F1 has to have, a group of people that, a private eye investigators to investigate every little move of the, because it's the same thing. It's a bunch of corporate people sitting in an office somewhere going, oh, yeah, that doesn't look right. Let's investigate that. Instead of letting the drivers have their own
it seems
situation
like
and handle it their own way.
every time a driver makes a move that either seems over-aggressive or, it's like every time we get a situation where somebody makes us go, whoa, they're wanting to investigate and levy a penalty. And a time penalty basically is a death knell as far as a win, because unless you can, 5 seconds of time, you're going to win by 6 seconds. And that's hard to do, especially if you're not a Mercedes. So, I think F1 basically took a win away from Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari that they should have had. And I think it's getting very frustrating to watch that series anymore. We saw was it Monaco, I think, with Red Bull's driver there. And, and it's one of those deals where I feel like if you're...
The name you were looking for is Max Verstappen.
Thank you. I was waiting for one of you guys to save me there, but instead I'm drowning now.
It's okay.
Max Verstappen's move at the end, again, I thought that was hard racing. Now, he'd already had a 5-second penalty for an earlier pit, miscue on Ferrari's, or on the Red Bull's part, which I agreed with. But, to even think they had to investigate that move he made at the end, those two were racing, and I would even challenge whether that was Vettel's fault or Hamilton's fault. And again, same with Verstappen back at Monaco. It's very questionable. Let these guys race, for crying out loud, because it just takes all the fun out of it when you know that every time something happens like that, that becomes an exciting moment from a fan perspective, you end up in a situation where it seems like there's a penalty being talked about, and it's like, well, they don't even want these guys to race. They just want them to follow each other around.
Right, and it changes the outcome of the race.
Right.
Because, but he got his revenge because he took the P1 the P1 stick or the P1 flag and stuck it in front of his car.
That was pretty funny. I just feel like, again, that whole thing didn't need to happen.
No, it
and
didn't.
It's very disappointing that we get into that situation where we feel like we always have to be levying a penalty for moves that are slightly out of the ordinary or hair raising or whatever. It's like that should be part of the race as far as I'm concerned. So black flag for Formula One on that one, because I think that was quite ridiculous. Okay, we'll come back home to the Cup race, back to most recent race that just ended a little while ago. Joey Logano getting the win. Looking at Daniel Suarez in the 41, we've been talking about him a little bit because, is he going to be back next year? Is he going to be back beyond next year? What's the situation with him and that team? Nice fourth place run today. Randy, does this maybe make you feel a little bit more like, okay, we're going in the right direction here, and we may see Daniel back in that car for next year and the following year?
Well, what's disappointing is the fact that he got booted out of Gibbs because he wasn't good enough in that car. And, we talked so many times about how you got to let these guys have a couple of seasons in a ride before you can start kicking them around. I mean, he's still fairly not new to NASCAR, but he's new to the oval scene because when he was racing in Mexico, it was mainly road courses.
Exactly.
So, we're going to Sonoma in a couple of weeks. I feel like that's his best chance to win, and I feel like he's probably going to win that race. If he doesn't, he will be easily a top 5 car. Based on just the performance of today, having that momentum now, going to a track that is familiar to him in terms of a road course type track, if he wins, even if he doesn't win, if he starts getting better and getting the top 5s and even the top 2s and 3s, he doesn't have to win races because right now, as a case in point today, he's better than his other teammates. And there's nobody in the Stewart-Haas team right now that's fantastic. Harvick is doing okay, but the other two aren't doing that great either. So, it's not like the same situation where, like at Gibbs, where you have 3 drivers who have won races, but poor Eric Jones has not, or in Penske where Logano and Brad have won, but Blaney has not. Nobody on the team right now is doing fantastic. So,
but we go to Sonoma, as you said. Now, here's what's
Right.
interesting about that. If you look at the drivers that are currently employed by Tony and Gene over there, Kurt Busch is really good at Sonoma. Okay? Daniel Suarez is obviously a road course racer by nature. So, and we know Kevin Harvick can win Sonoma.
And Boyer's won before, too.
So this is one of those situations where this is why I love this NASCAR season, because we've had such a rivalry going, it seems like, even though it wasn't created as such by JGR and Penske. They've been doing most of the winning. All of a sudden, we go to a track here where you think Stewart-Haas, a road course of all places, could come out of its shell and suddenly become the team to beat just because the drivers they've got are really top-notch on road courses. And I don't feel like that team's been far off at all this year. They just haven't been winning like they usually have. But then again, you can only win 7 or 8 races in a year so often. Kevin Harvick had to have a season sooner or later where he kind of starts out chilly. But something tells me that Sonoma could be an entirely different situation.
That's true, and I like the fact that we don't sit here anymore and talk about road course ringers. We don't talk about guys coming in specifically just to run that one race, and those are your run fellows and the guys like that used to be the threats to win every week. There's probably 25 guys in the field that can win road course races and have gotten better over the years.
Yep.
Chase Elliott won last year. Was it Watkins Glen he won?
Yeah.
Watkins
Was
Glen.
his first ever.
His first ever win. Alex Bowman has gotten better on road courses in recent years. Eric Jones, Jimmy Johnson's won on road courses. There's tons of guys now that aren't no longer road course ringers. Any of those guys can win on a road course.
Yeah, that's what makes it so interesting now. But you're right. I was talking to someone about that over the weekend, about the lack of of ringers that we bring in anymore. You still see some of the lower teams once in a while do that.
Xfinity and trucks do it.
But even in Cup, you'll still see maybe one or two of the lower teams hire an ace. But for the most part, it's the regulars now, and it should be fun. A week off for the Cup Series trucks.
Father's Day.
At trucks running at Iowa next week, however. So should be a lot of fun.
Aren't they the premier race this week? Because Xfinity runs on or does Xfinity run on Saturday? I think it's trucks on Friday.
I think it is Xfinity on Saturday, yeah.
So the premier, because Sunday's Father's Day, so they all have Father's Day off.
Yep, exactly. Okay. So it will be interesting to see what happens as we now believe this was Darrell Waltrip's last race today.
Nope. Sunday. Next
Sunday.
Sonoma, or 2 weeks from
Sonoma.
Sonoma's the
Sonoma
last race
will
for
be the last one.
Yep.
Okay. So we will certainly send him off in fine style.
What a way to go out in the Napa Valley of California.
Yeah, exactly.
Really? Like,
yep.
They could have picked a better race for that to happen.
Exactly. With that, we are out of here for another night. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to all the folks from PMN Radio, and also, of course, to Chris Murdoch for doing such a great job punching buttons over there. For Randy Miller and myself, Tom Baker, that's it for Lead Lap Radio for the evening. Thanks for being with us. We look forward to being back next week. Have a safe week, everybody. Get out to a racetrack and have some fun. God bless, and good night.
You've been listening to Lead Lap Radio powered by HMS Motorsport, the leaders in motorsport safety. You can find them on the web at hmsmotorsport.com. Lead Lap Radio is a Race Chaser Media production. For more exciting and passionate motorsport content, follow Race Chaser Media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and visit racechasermedia.com. The opinions expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff, management, affiliates, or marketing partners of Race Chaser Media. No part of the show may be reproduced in any manner without the expressed written consent of Race Chaser Media. Thank you for listening.